Studies have shown that emotional intelligence can improve the quality of one's life. But where do you start? We have an idea. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to Ladies Listen Up. I am your host, Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. Now, a few years ago, not a few, maybe it's more like 10, 15, 18. Let me not show my age. Years ago, I started investigating emotional intelligence when I became a manager because I wanted to know how to connect with the people I was responsible for. And then I realized I needed to also look at myself as I was going through this journey of just really discovering who I was, how I communicated, how I respond to different situations. So I know the importance of emotional intelligence and how it impacts the quality of life. The good thing is about this topic, because we're talking about self, we're talking about going towards that better version of ourselves, is it just so happens that we have an amazing guest to help us on our journey. I want to introduce you to our special guest. It's going to be Dr. Dale. Welcome, Dr. Dell. Welcome. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Gwendolyn.
So before we get started, I have to share your accolades because people need to know that we don't have just someone I found off the street helping us. We have an expert. So Dr. Dale Laing-Hall is a highly accomplished human resources executive with a doctorate in business administration. She's also a leader in the fields of emotional intelligence, and you will hear us refer to that as EQ during this conversation. She has a deep understanding of the role emotions play in personal and professional success. So Dr. Dale empowers individuals and organizations to harness the power of EQ to drive positive change in their lives, in their workplaces, and in their community. In addition to her coaching and her HR expertise, Dr. Dale is also the owner of Dale Reports. That is a coaching program where she energetically inspires professionals to build stronger, more fulfilling relationships by cultivating self-awareness and empathy for others. And it should be noted that Dr. Dale, of course, is an emotional intelligence expert, as we also say, EI expert. And she's also an inspirational career speaker. Dr. Dale, I tell you, we are more than happy to have you with us.
I don't think I love talking about all things emotional intelligence and the world of work, human resources. So I'm good. This is great conversation no matter what.
Well, let us jump right into it because we are going to talk about getting your EQ up. Okay, so let's just get started with something very simple because depending on where we are in the journey of heading towards our better selves, someone may not know what emotional intelligence is. So, can you give us a short definition of emotional intelligence?
So, short definition, just like how you have artificial intelligence, meaning the AI and all that stuff, you have, let's say, understanding yourself so that you can better understand the people in your life. And in return, have a fruitful, beautiful relationships. All of the relationships, work relationship, family relationship, any relationship. Simple. That's it. You better understanding you, so that way you can have better understanding of the people around you.
You know what? That was like the perfect short and sweet answer.
Well, to the point, like,
Because it is about
we could go through all the definition, ability to be able to use, manage your own emotions. Nah, nah. Understand yourself on a deep level, so that way you can have great relationships with the people. And you want to have a great relationship with people in your life, right? Everybody I know has a mother, a father, a dad, kids. They go to work, they have relationships. So why not have great relationships while still understanding and getting to know yourself?
Mm, God, that's great. So, since you mentioned all these relationships, mother, fathers, kids, friends, even coworkers, if you will, how does emotional intelligence improve our quality of life?
Oh my goodness. Okay, short, short, short. uh,
Okay, well, short, but let's just make sure that we do take care of, all the information. So we're good. We're good.
so improve your quality, self awareness.
Okay.
Self awareness is the core of emotional intelligence, right?
Mhm.
Better relationships, meaning you're able to communicate effectively, you're able to understand the people that you're discussing with. Stress, it reduces your stress because you're not stressing over what that person just lashed out on you and all you said to them was good morning. That wasn't a
Mm,
you problem. You're not victimizing yourself. You already know, let me give her space because something is going on that has nothing to do with you. So you are able to not stress over something that has nothing to do with you, but you got to be able to know, emotionally intelligent enough to know that stuff, right? That's stress reduction, better relationships, career success. Studies have shown that people with high IQ, emotional intelligence, high EQs, have stronger, higher, and they get paid more. I
oh,
70%
write that down.
more people with high emotional intelligence rated to get paid a lot more, just because top HR professionals say that when they interviewed individuals, yeah, they look at the
Mhm.
skills, but attitude, they putting them in those scenarios. They give them those scenarios, and that let them understand the person. They're looking for emotional intelligence. You can't teach that in an interview. You have to be able to come with that. You have to be able to
Right.
come with it, because people get hired for their skills, when
Mm.
but at the end of the day they get fired for their soft skills, and soft skills is all emotional intelligence. People think that emotional intelligence, oh, it's something soft, oh, you're a pushover. Couldn't be anything further from the truth. Is the strongest, because you have to be vulnerable, you have to be empathetic, knowing when to be empathetic and be vulnerable and stand up for yourself and give somebody grace or not. You know what I mean? You got to know, and EQ allows you to do that.
Ugh. I just want to add in a little part two to that question because you mentioned that you are able to look at a situation and recognize that it's not about you. So, if I hear this correctly, being more emotional, intelligent, and self aware allows you to change how you respond to situations and to people and how they are. I don't want to say acting out, but
Yeah,
acting out.
they're acting out, right? And and the thing is that depending on what's going on with them at any given time, like we all that what does the quote say? We all, give people, understand someone where they're coming from, because we're all going through something, right? And you don't know what
Yes.
I'm going through, so why not
Mhm.
have the grace, the kindness, and give me that extra space, right? But there's a difference between people that abuse it, right? And you got to be able to differentiate from the ones that are constantly just punching you as a punching bag. There's a difference. And you're going to have to step in and, show boundaries and say, hey, I'm not going to allow this anymore, da 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 da. And EQ allows you to know and understand those situations to be able to do that.
I told myself I wasn't going to ask 5,000 questions, but you mentioned boundaries and pushover. And the women that we're talking to, They have been the caregivers, the supermoms, the I'm going to solve everyone's problem for a very long time. And they are now on this journey of unlearning what they have learned, but also perhaps for the very first time, setting boundaries for themselves to say, I want to help you, but this isn't my problem, right? So,
Yeah,
is this where emotional intelligence and strengthening emotional intelligence can help them set those boundaries?
exactly. And you will find that a lot more people victimize and take it. They just keep being the punching bag for whoever and whatever whoever's in their life, right? They continue to be the punching bag and just like take it. Okay. When are we gonna stop taking it? I think we took a lot. I think
Mm,
we've taken a lot. Now it's time to stand up, right? Look them straight in the eye and say, today is the last day. I will no longer allow you to do this and this to me, right? 10 years. 10 years I've been allowing you to curse, belittle, disrespect, all of this. I'm not allowing it no more. And this is here, my resignation or the whatever relationship you're in, right?
You know what? I'm sitting here thinking to myself, and the church will say amen. Because you have hit all the points. So many of us who have just been in that position where we just keep taking and we finally decide we're stopping this today.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
this ends. It
yeah.
ends right here, right now. It is
And
over.
it's kind of
Oh my
it's
God.
so sad, Gwendolyn, because it's so sad that all these years you just and the thing about it is that I had somebody that quit from my company that I work at because I'm in my mental health space, and that person has been there
Mhm.
over 30 years, and they have been stressed, and that person said when they walked away because of the manager that they reported to was just toxic. They said, look, the stress is, you don't know the stress you're putting your body through. And the thing is, there's a book out there called Your Body Keeps Score. Your body will not live, whatever emotion you put your body through, it will not live rent free. It's going to come to collect.
Ooh,
I mean, it's
man.
gonna. I mean, that's a whole different stuff. But it's gonna come to collect, and it will show up in your body. How your stress, your mind, your mental, the emotional, the whole 9 yards.
Ooh,
And then 50, 60 years later, you have high blood pressure. You have this. You have that because it started with you. Oh, I'll do it. Oh, he didn't mean
yeah,
anything by it. All of that.
yeah. Yeah. It's that that whole part of your body keeping score. Um, I remember a dear colleague, also a friend, when he changed his job position and saw some old colleagues later, people were like, "Wow, you look so bright and so stress free." Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it's a real thing, and it's
You
scary.
wear it.
It's scary if you don't pay attention. Unfortunately, whether you believe it or not, one, go do the research. Two, it's right there, right? And whether you believe it or not, you're a human being. Yeah, my blood is red. Your blood is red. Get ready.
Mhm.
Either you make the change today, whether you believe it or not, is going to happen. Simple as that.
Well, you know what? That's a great segue. I mean, that's like perfect. Perfect. So tell us, how do we know if we are emotionally intelligent? And here's the part two. I'll go ahead and give it to you. What are some key identifiers? So let's just go with how do we know if we're emotionally intelligent?
Well, one, do you check in with yourself? Like, do you do self assessment? After the end of the day at work, I usually go through the different meetings, interactions I had with employees, or with my employees, with employee relations. Do you check in? Hey, man, that meeting really went crazy, and I did not help. Did you stir the pot? Did you help make the meeting more productive, fruitful, or not? That husband, did you had that argument last night? Did you kind of kept on jabbing it? Did you help the situation? Your kids, they came from school. Did you had a bad day at work? Did you take it out on them on purpose? Like, you got to ask yourself these questions. Simple. That is where self-awareness. Self-awareness is the basic form. That's the basics of emotional intelligence. Do you ask yourself, go back and check in with yourself and check in with yourself in terms of, do you do introspection, retrospection? Do you know what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are? That's at the core, right? And so that's simple. If you check in with yourself and you ask yourself these kinds of questions, then the next step is, what do you do about it? Do you just check in and just walk away? No. Well, tomorrow
Like, oh
I'm
well.
going to make sure I go back to Sally and tell her I apologize for screaming at her, because in reality I was really mad about what my husband did to me last night, and that had nothing to do with her.
Okay. That was, we have a little bit to unpack there. Hold on. Okay, so we're doing the self-assessment. And so if we have to say, hey, here's the snippet, it is, you check yourself. It's like, who's going to check me, boo? It's going to have to be you, sis. So you check yourself, and then you think about ways it could have gone differently.
Mm-hmm.
And if necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Might be.
you're holding yourself accountable for that behavior and apologizing to those who may have been, I'm going to say, harmed by you,
Yeah.
impacted,
Yeah.
impacted or harmed.
Yeah, because that person will remember. Like, Gwendolyn, how many times, how many jobs that you've been at that you remember that boss or that peer or that coworker telling you, man, what are you doing here today? I don't even know why they hired you. You're no good. Like, you remember those things, and that's traumatic.
Yeah,
Isn't
it is. I
that
mean, there, I believe everyone, well, those of us who had like a regular nine to
Yeah,
five, we definitely have some situations where we can remember the not so great manager and the not so great situations. And it does stay with you. Even when you say, okay, I'm shaking it off, it's like, no, it stays with you. So much so that when you see that person, you're like, you act like I forgot. I am forgot.
I mean, I forgive
Man,
because Jesus said you
yeah,
gotta forgive, but I remember what you put me through.
I mean, if I have to be honest, because sometimes I could lie, I'm going to go ahead and be honest because we have people
Yeah,
watching. I would say that maybe um, I'm at like 10% on one, and then the other, because it is still fairly fresh,
yeah.
eh, I'm like at a 40. I'm at a 40. So, we're still working through, I guess, some of those deep layer emotions of how I wish things could have gone.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, it doesn't stop me from living my best life, but it's not like if I saw someone, I would still recall that situation and just say, we was in these streets. And if I wasn't so emotionally intelligent,
And petty. Some people are petty. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this now that I.
yeah, it would be a different story. So yes, I understand. And for me as a manager, when I was managing a team, I really thought about how my actions impacted others. And I
Mm.
checked myself. Like, if I, you don't mean to raise your voice, but sometimes people do like ridiculous
I tell
things and
you.
you get agitated and you raise your voice. And so I give myself moments like, hey, can I talk to you? I apologize. I had no right to speak to you in that manner. Oh no, but you're a manager. It's like, no, I had no right to talk to you in that manner. And I apologize. Not I'm sorry.
I
I
apologize.
apologize for that behavior.
100%. And that's how you
Yeah.
lead. You're leading with empathy. You're putting yourself in their shoes because you know
Yeah.
you've been there and you know how it feels, and it's not a good feeling. So and they respect the heck out of you for that. They're like, oh, okay. So that gives them space. If something happened and they're doing something with their coworkers, they can be okay with saying, my apologies.
Yeah. You know what, Dr. Dale? I may have to ask you a question off camera first. The people I manage, the people I manage, I was so aware of the impact. And I'm just going to say it for whatever reason. Well, this is perfect because this goes into my next question. This is
Yeah.
perfect. So for my coworkers though, my coworkers and those who were managing me, the conversation between us is shifted just a little bit. No, not a little bit. It did shift
Okay.
to where I had coworkers who were like dumping their stuff on me.
Hmm.
Not gonna lie, we came back with a vengeance. I'm like, we're not doing none of that. Like none of it. So let me go to my question. Maybe you can help me work through my own issues over here. So what stopped? Honesty is the best policy, ladies. The best policy.
100%.
So what stops some people from growing their emotional intelligence? Like what is a hindrance for some of us?
Fear of vulnerability
Okay. Okay.
and lack of awareness,
Okay.
right? Which is another way to say ignorance, but lack of awareness and fear of people don't want to be, they don't want to show themselves in that way. Hey, the reason this
Mm,
happened the other day, I had a whole leadership summit at my company in the mental health space, and I brought 80 plus different VPs, leaders, and I did all things emotional intelligence. And
mm,
one of my leaders shared their why. They're over 50 years old. They didn't know why they chose the profession that they chose. And they just figured that out because we went skin, not, we didn't go to skin, we went skin deep. And we asked,
mhm,
why did you chose to be here in this position, doing this as a therapist? Because I love helping people. I love doing this. And they just figured that out a couple months ago. And that person was able to share that story from a vulnerable place. And it caused
mm,
their peers, everybody else to kind of see that person in a whole different light. But I'll be
mm.
honest, when we went into that conversation, that person was, people said all kinds of things about that person. They didn't like them. And now they understood and given what? Grace. Oh, I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So they see
Yeah.
them as a human now, right? And then that person themselves, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I've never shared that story. I didn't know that until sitting down here, thinking about it, having these deep
Mm,
conversations and feeling safe enough to share.
mm. I can definitely see where the vulnerability and the fear because, if we look at and I'll just say society's idea of what a strong leader, strong employee looks like, it is any kind of showing of emotion can be seen as weak,
That's not for the
right?
workplace. We don't do that here.
Right, right. I mean, if we want to go there really quick, if we even look at LinkedIn, which is a professional network, people make it seem as if everything should be like here, like humdrum. Whereas people just got laid off. Why would they not share that and share it with real raw emotion? I'm upset.
Yeah,
I am 30 years I've been
yeah.
here, top notch, never missed a day, and I'm tossed out like yesterday's trash. Now, hear me. I know every business does it differently, but it's the feeling that the person has in that
Hmm.
moment
Hmm.
that is like, what? What happened here?
Yeah.
Right? So you can't help but have emotion there. So the idea, even for people on LinkedIn saying, we don't need to see your sob stories and we don't need to hear about this, but we are humans.
Having
We need
human
to talk about
experiences. Exactly. So if you don't share it, I mean, if you can't share it in a community where you are, no matter where you're going, humans are gonna be there. So, and you
it.
need the part about Gwendolyn is that they pick and choose when they want to show up, want people to show up as humanity. Because you need my humanity to have answer that phone as a customer service. You want me to be able to empathize with that customer, don't you? Okay then. All right then. Let's not go halfway.
Oh my God. Okay, okay. So we have clearly gone through a lot of what we want to talk about. We now want to talk about ideas to improve emotional intelligence. Are you guys ready to do the work? So, Dr. Dale, I mean, even in that segment, I'm still looking at myself like, now I'm a solopreneur now, but still, this is it's an ever evolving journey. I don't believe you're ever quite done, right? So, do you have, if you will, 4 exercises that the viewers can do to improve their emotional intelligence?
Yes. I have 5. It's an acronym. The word is PULSE. You've heard of stop, breathe, right? Before you jump into anything, stop and breathe. I say
Yeah.
stop, breathe, and pulse. Check your pulse,
Okay.
right? So pulse stands for the P, ponder. Look at the situation for what it is. Gather how you feel. Check in with yourself, right? See how you feel about it. Then once you understand and know, because that when you understand how you feel, that means you're understanding, you like this, you don't like this, why don't you like this? You already ask yourself those questions.
Mhm.
You understand, meaning you checked in with the feelings part already. Now let's go to the facts. Understand what the situation actually is. Did your husband really forget the kids? No, he just was late. Okay, was he late? Okay, how late? Oh, he was only 5 minutes late. Why did I think he didn't pick up the kids? You get the facts. Talk to whoever you need to talk to, get the facts. L, language. Check your language. Your mom said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So know when to walk away and say, hey, you know what? This conversation is kind of getting me, before I say anything that's going to hurt you, because I love you, can we revisit this later on? Or whatever, right? Be able to check him, just stop and don't say anything. Just let it go. Stop. S, show up as your best authentic self, meaning it's
Mm.
okay to be vulnerable. And then that E, engage. You already got the facts. You already checked your language. You already checked your emotions. You already know where you are and know what you want. Then completely engage. Put the phone down. Answer the questions. Look them in their eyes. Tell them you apologize. Tell them this is what you're going to do to make sure it don't happen again. Tell them how they made you feel. Completely be present.
That should help a number of our viewers because it is the idea of, let me stop for a second. Because, as I always say, you can't unring the bell. Once you put it out there, it is out there.
Yeah,
So the words you choose to use,
they
they
hurt.
have a real
They
impact on
hurt. They
somebody.
hurt.
But looking at checking the facts, because a lot of us go from zero to Neverland. It's not exactly that's not exactly how it happens. So
Yeah.
you exaggerate a little bit here and there,
Yeah.
and you just blow up for no good reason.
Yeah.
So we cannot help but thank you for sharing that pulse with us. Tell me really quickly, if people would like to work with you or find out more about emotional intelligence and your coaching program, how are they able to do that?
Oh, please simply visit my website, dalereports.com. That's DALE reports. DaleReports.com. I do have a workshop on all things emotional intelligence coming out. It's happening December 9th. So visit my website. The landing page is going to be there. Sign up. And it's been a pleasure.
We absolutely love bringing in experts to help us through this journey. Like, again, a number of people, primarily women, are working through the process of unlearning what they've learned, setting boundaries, and putting themselves first, all while embracing their best version of themselves. So, as I always say, make sure you give yourself the space and grace to grow and learn. Enjoy your day, guys.